Welcome back, folks, to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham G.S. Matthews, review all the original content that I watch on the WWE Network. For the last number of episodes, we've been talking about Legends House, the first and only season. I wish they would come out with a second season, but no such luck yet. Today we're talking about Season 1, Episode 7, Heartbreak Hotel. Pretty funny episode. So we kick off the episode with the Legends going out to breakfast, and surprisingly, everything goes well. Mean Gene points out in a pre-taped interview that it's very rare that I talked about. I don't know if it was in the last episode or episode 5 or whatever. They were all sitting down at dinner all together with no problems, just sitting down, talking, bonding, sharing stories, which is very, very rare for these guys at any one point in time. So Mean Gene points out that it just doesn't seem right, and that the entire time, apparently, he was worried that he was going to get ribbed. He was preparing for a crotch shot or something, so he was very happy when that did not come to fruition. So Mean Gene was very happy that the breakfast went off without a hitch. From there, they get back to the house, and they kind of know something's fishy, something's up, but no real physical challenges. No, Chippendales, no LARPing, none of that stuff in this episode. Rather, they get back to the house. They're met by Ashley and Jeff Dye. He was apparently a comedian, actor, whatever, and they present a game show with the Legends. How well do you know your roommate? Where they present questions. One roommate leaves. They ask, the roommate, or what do they think they would say, basically. So that's basically what the game concept consisted of. And the questions consisted of, in the first round, what do they like to eat, their most annoying habit, the most ugly thing about them. And the pairs included Hacksaw Jim Duggan. They were paired with their roommate, obviously. And the roommates, for those that don't remember, I don't think I talked about it here on the show yet. I mean, who was rooming with who. But anyway, the pairs included Hacksaw Jim Duggan with Roddy Piper, Howard Finkel with Pat Patterson, Hillbilly Jim with Jimmy Hart, and Mean Gene Okerlund with Tony Atlas. So it goes off pretty well, but it becomes pretty apparent by halfway through the first round that Piper and Hacksaw are cheating. When everyone's talking and discussing their answers, you can definitely see Piper and hear Piper give Hacksaw his answers, not like whispering in his ear, but kind of saying it under his breath, and no one else catches up on it, and no one else catches on it. Catches on that. So they ended up scoring up quite a few points. They didn't get every answer right, but they did cheat and get a whole bunch of points on the board because of their cheating. So we go to the second round, and I'll discuss who won in the end with how many points and shit like that. So the second round, the questions consisted of favorite thing to wear to bed, what they can't live without, whether they need a personal chef, trainer, or assistant, and what they would spend $50,000. I think it was $50,000. Some large sum of money. It could have been $500,000, $1,000. I don't remember, but it was some large sum of money. And Mean Gene, so he kind of picks up on the fact that not that Piper and Hacksaw were cheating, but he thought that Hillbilly Jim and Jimmy Hart were cheating, because at one answer, when he said personal chef, assistant, trainer, or whatever it was, you can see Jimmy Hart visibly start crossing his fingers and getting really, really excited, hoping he would select that answer. He starts praying to himself. Jimmy Hart just really, really wants to win. So Mean Gene points out that Jimmy Hart's mantra has always been, win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat, which is obviously the famous catchphrase of Bobby the Brain Heenan, which apparently was adopted by Jimmy Hart. So, in fact, they are not cheating, and in the end, because they did not cheat, and because Hillbilly Jim and Jimmy Hart are such good roommates, apparently, they end up winning the whole thing with 90 points. But even prior to that, so with one of the answers, like I said, with one of the questions, it was what they can't live without. And Hacksaw had to leave the room, and Piper said, I don't think he can live without his wife. So when they were cheating, Piper he wrote wife on his hand, but Hacksaw can't see shit. He can't see squat. So when he looks at Piper's hand, all he sees is life. He thinks he sees life and not wife. So Hacksaw says, what I can't live without is life. And Pat Patterson goes, life? What is he, dumb or what? You can't live without life? That makes no fucking sense. So Piper, after they lose, they just admit to cheating, because he's a heel at heart, so you can expect nothing less from Roddy Piper. So I thought that was pretty fun, and he thought so too. So the winners, as I said, Hillbilly Jim and Jimmy Hart, end up winning free private tennis lessons Jimmy Hart does pretty well. Mean Gene likes the attractive tennis coach as he comes down to the court side to flirt with the tennis coaches that are around his age, maybe in their 50s. They're not some like younglings or anything. They're not young women. They're around his age, but he's hitting on them because he thinks they're hot and all this other shit. And he's talking to them more than Jimmy Hart and Hillbilly Jim are, which is pretty funny. But so he comes down to courtside to flirt with them. So Jimmy Hart, or rather Roddy Piper, I'm getting all the legends mixed up here. He has to leave the house for an autograph signing, and he's obviously best friends with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. So Hacksaw is starting to miss him hugely. I wrote down Hillbilly Jim here, but it was Hacksaw. I get all the legends mixed up, like I said. So Hacksaw misses him dearly. He's the only one that he really talks to, and during their time in the house, and they're best friends. They really start to grow this great friendship. So when Piper leaves for a couple days, Duggan feels like he's going crazy. He's starting to really miss him. He's like talking to himself. He starts to call him a couple times, hoping that he's going to pick up. And every time the phone rings, he races to the phone, probably the fastest he's run in years. He races to the phone, picks it up, says, "Hey, brother," all excited, and he gets his hopes up too high when he finds out that it's not Roddy Piper. And then he just kind of just dies a little bit on the inside. So then he goes to Pat Patterson, who he asks, did the phone ring at all? Recently he asked him if the phone rang at all, and he said, no, why? You were expecting a call or something? And then Hacksaw goes, yeah, no, not really. I mean, I gave Piper, ring a couple times, and he hasn't gotten back to me. I'm just hoping he would. And then, and then Patterson, I died at this line. He goes, what, are you starting to fall in love with him or something? And then he goes, yeah, I noticed that the beds last night, they were on opposite sides of the room when we first got here, and in the past couple of days I noticed they were starting to inch a little closer to each other, so that was really funny. Pat Patterson is fucking hilarious. He has probably some of the best one-liners of anybody this entire show. It's not even close. So that was funny. Before Hacksaw can go any crazier, Shawn Michaels makes a surprise appearance in the house. Everyone is very happy to see him. They're about to rip each other apart, so having Shawn Michaels show up is the best thing for him. He takes him out fishing. Tony Atlas says the heartthrob himself, Shawn Michaels, and I had flashbacks of that awful heartthrobs gimmick with Antonio Thomas and Giovanni Roselli, both of whom I interviewed, by the way, cheap plug, many years ago. But that was the first thing I thought of, and not Shawn Michaels. It was the Heartbreak Kid, not the heartthrob. But anyway, so they go fishing, a little bit slow at start. They don't really catch many fish. I mean, if you've gone fishing before, then you're not going to catch a whole bunch of fish right off the bat like that, unless you're really, really good and you're in a great area. Otherwise, it's going to start out a little slow. It's going to feel a lot slower for anyone who does not fish normally. I don't fish normally, but I've gone fishing before, and I know that feeling. But the pace starts to pick up a little bit. Pat Patterson, I think, was the first one to catch a fish. Then Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Hillbilly Jim gets a big one. He says it's the biggest one that anyone's caught all day. They bring the fish back to the house. They cook it up for dinner. And Mean Gene, being from Minnesota, starts cooking up the fish and cutting up the fish while Hillbilly Jim, washes them and cleans them up and shit. And the entire time that Mean Gene is cutting up the fish, Jimmy Hart is right there like a fucking gnat, right in his ear. The fish are looking a little thin. What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to make sure that you're not trying to cut yourself. To Mean Gene. And Hillbilly just being a nice guy. Hillbilly Jim is just like, he's just trying to be nice with him. And he is his roommate after all. But then just Mean Gene just snaps. He goes, Jimmy, get the fuck out of here. And obviously they bleep out the fuck, but it's just really funny. While they're making the food, Jimmy Hart, karma comes back to bite him in the ass when he's taking the fish out of the oven. Out of the stove, whatever. And his glasses, his favorite pair of glasses, apparently, from what he says, fall inside the oven. Then he goes inside to get them, and he's freaking out, saying, fuck, fuck, fuck. You're hearing all these bleeps. They're fine, though. They're completely fine. The sunglasses escape the oven unscathed. So they eat dinner together. All goes well. Shawn Michaels takes off, and that is the end of the episode. So a pretty funny episode, not very newsworthy. Not too much going on, not too much in the form of like big reveals or any beefs between Hacksaw and Tony. Everyone's starting to kind of getting along by this point in the show. Just a funny, entertaining episode, like I said, with everything from Shawn Michaels showing up. I guess that was a bit newsworthy. I shouldn't say that it wasn't newsworthy. That was pretty notable. From Shawn Michaels showing up to Piper taking off to Hacksaw getting lonely, which was hilarious. The game show stuff was good too. So a pretty laid-back episode, low profile. I enjoyed it. Good episode. Check it out on the WWE Network. Legends House Season 1, Episode 7, Heartbreak Hotel. And I didn't know what that title was in reference to until fucking Shawn Michaels showed up. And then I'm thinking now, oh my god, this makes a ton of sense. I thought they were talking about Hacksaw and Piper and their strange love story or whatever that is, their friendship. But at any rate, that is, like I said, Season 1, Episode 7 of Legends House. Check it out on the WWE Network. The next episode of WWE Network and Chill will be covering Episode 8, Season 1 of Legends House as we near the season finale. Episode 9 of Season 1 is technically the season finale, and then Episode 10 is basically like a wrap-up. They did one of those with in Season 1 of Total Divas 2, where they all sit around talking about the show, their time in the show, all that other kind of stuff. So we'll get to that in Episode 10, but we have 3 episodes left of WWE Network and Chill for Legends House before we take a break for a couple weeks, and we're back at the onset of 2017. But until then, guys, you can find me on the Twitter machine and follow me there at WrestleRant. Find me on Facebook at facebook.com/graham.gsm.matthews, and also right here on YouTube as we quickly approach the 1,000 mark. A little under, if not 20 subscribers to go. So tell your friends, call up your mom, tell everyone that you know that we are so close to 1,000 subscribers. I appreciate your support. Be sure to like this video, leave a comment, share the video, and of course, subscribe as well. So until next time, guys, stay tuned right here on the channel for exclusive content all week long. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch you folks down the road.